It's Friday. Friday. We're back on the Friday.
I didn't know you both would be so excited to have me back.
I mean, you're the factor here. We're always excited, of course. We're doing this because of the viewers at home, but you're an extra factor. Who wouldn't want to work with an intelligent, a superstar like you? You bring in the energy. Our energy levels are very high anytime you're on the set. And, of course, we felt your absence yesterday. But I'm glad you're no longer under the weather. You have come out of the weather. You are over the weather. You are standing on existing protocols.
So this was the when I was away.
No,
how did you cope with these two men?
When you're not here, we're matured. You know, men, it's a men thing.
Okay.
But you bring us back to.
I'm glad to be back. I missed you, but
it's good to have you back.
Anytime we're not here, there's a certain sense of being away, and I missed you as well. Thank you for always choosing Breakfast Central. There's no better way to start your morning. Of course, after prayer, the next thing is to turn on your TV to watch Breakfast Central. Thank you very much for joining us. For the next 3 hours, we're looking at interesting stories happening around the Nigerian state, and maybe we might be heading out of the country to other parts of the nation. Stick around. We'll also be reviewing the newspapers, and that is the point where you're calling to share your thoughts. But let's come back to Nigeria and start off with the wake-up conversations. I know we all saw the videos where it was a bit shocking to see the aircraft, the value jet aircraft, moving and almost carrying somebody along the
I
rings.
saw a comment says, who be the Agbero pilot? Maneuvering like a Molue downfall driver. But there were lots of factors.
There's a lot. I think while you weren't here yesterday, myself and Benga discussed it. And we did something extraordinary while discussing that. I had to go back. It's on X, by the way. Check it out. Fantastic views. It's garnered a lot of views and a lot of comments as well from people. Oh yes.
What video?
Our conversation on the value jet and Kwam incidents that took place. I did see a comment. I really wish we could pick up some comments from that on X. And someone said, listen, he had made a very key point that, he was linking it towards the fact that when people have power, or they have their people in power,
or they have access,
then they start to misbehave. But today, just like we did yesterday, we said, let's wait till more evidences come out. And guess what? More videos and evidences did come out just yesterday. So I think it's good for us to now start looking at every single thing, just like we did yesterday, from back and forth. And then, so first of all, we have 4 things to look at. The first one is we do have a response from the daughter of K1, the ultimate, Kwam 1. She happens to be the SSA to the governor of Lagos State, Governor Sanwo-Olu, on tourism as well. We'll also look at the
Minister of Aviation and Aerospace,
who has also spoken and spoken tough. And then we'll also look at, the authorities, that's the body concerning aviation in Nigeria, and not forgetting to also look at the video. So back to you guys. I don't know which one you want to start with.
You lead the conversation. The only thing I want to start with, since I wasn't here yesterday, was that the last information we had before now was that it was because he was drinking something that was from a flask, something that was assumed to be alcohol, and they had told him not to drink that, and he said it's water. Later they said it's medication that's, his health, whether his doctor had.
But then there was a part that said he also spilled the content
on the.
So it feels like there have been different stories.
Which is what we did.
Well, shed the light.
Let's watch the first video. More videos have emerged, and this is another video that will show you a different part. Remember yesterday's video, I did show just when the plane was about almost dangerously decapitating the legendary musician. But now more videos have shown that this conversation really started from way back, and I think it confirms what being asked yesterday. Let's take a look.
All right, we'll have that video.
Okay, that video is almost ready. Yeah.
But before then, we're still looking at some very interesting happenings. And this time around is not with the aviation sector. We're looking at the train. The train, Nigeria's railway industry is one that is, we have a lot of hope in it. But this time around, what we've seen is quite heartbreaking. It would seem that a moving train compartment breaks off on the expressway. Imagine being in the train and all of a sudden you are the second part the second part, and then there is a division. It's giving 1001 Ways to Die. It's giving, a movie. It's like something that will happen in a movie. You don't imagine, you never imagine that this is something that will happen to you in your lifetime. But we have a video. Let's take a look at it.
To go and join them on the other hand. What do you have to feel about the train head? Because of our security. This is what is happening in Nigeria. We need to look at the issue of security. They are moving the train head down to go and meet the other one, the other side. So they are moving the train to go and join them on the other hand. What do you have to feel about the train head? Because of our security. This is what is happening in Nigeria. We need to look at the issue of security. They are moving the train head down to go and meet the other one, the other side.
Thankfully, no lives were lost in the making of that video, but what happened was that this happened yesterday at 8 a.m. in Lagos State. It was reported that it happened around 8 a.m. as the train from Ogbayo in Ogun State was headed for Apapa in Lagos State, and all of a sudden we could see that there was a detachment of the compartment within the train. It's a division of labor.
It's true now. That first part has done its own. They had to move the second part to it. I mean, it might sound funny, but this shouldn't be happening in 2025. I mean, you can't have wagons separate from the other parts of the train. And this looks like one of those colonial relics. We should have moved beyond this sort of trains. They should take a cue from the Lagos State government and modernize the train infrastructure. Having said that, we also have, I mean, there are modern trains, the ones that go to Ibadan, that go to Abeokuta. We should have decommissioned this type of train. So I'm not surprised this sort of thing is happening. And thankfully, no injuries were reported and no loss of lives were also reported. The new MD of the Nigeria Railway Corporation, Mr. Kayode Opefa, is doing a great job in, modernizing and improving service delivery. And when it comes to train services, my sister happened to use one of the trains to Abeokuta a few weeks ago, and the reports I got was good. But yesterday also, in the news, on social media, a woman recorded one of and that's why you need technology to bypass human error and corruption, because the MD of Nigeria Railway Corporation is not going to be anywhere, and I don't think it's his fault that thing happened. This woman said there were no tickets. Meanwhile, she was selling the tickets to black marketers, to those that were selling tickets at the train station, so she could make a profit. I mean, it's very terrible.
Waiting man, do man. I mean, in this case, waiting man.
And it's because someone was not doing their job. That's why Kwam left the first, when they checked for boarding passes. Yeah. You should have dropped this liquid there and got onto the plane. And we avoided the national tragedy. You have to give it to him. Maybe because of dancing, you have quick reflexes. He was able to bend down low.
Okay, we'll come to Kwamon, but just let's quickly look.
No, we have to link from train to aeroplane. Next, maybe tomorrow's wake up will go to shipping industry.
But that's tomorr's wake up will be handled by Breakfast Extra.
It's true.
Yes, unfortunately,
they don't even do wake up.
They don't
have that kind of segment.
Okay. Let's have reactions to that video. And some of course, Nigerians would always tweet. Someone says, just imagine, smaller countries are enjoying electric trains. We're here pushing our own train while a former governor stole 80 billion naira, which is enough to get an electric train. At least one.
Who's that former governor?
Who's that former governor?
I wonder.
If you say Baba.
If you ask me, who I will ask?
2K Mike says, Nigeria is not even fit to be called third world country. Nothing works except corruption, tribalism, and nepotism. Pathetic. And the next tweet we have from Sheol News says, normally this type of train will be renovated and moved to rural agricultural areas in some countries. It helps to move farm produce and farmers, but
I agree.
Still will not experience this type of anomaly. How does a train detach without external intervention? Again...
Did you do that train thing in Vietnam, or is it Thailand?
It's in Vietnam.
Yeah.
Yes, the one where you're eating by the side of the road and the train No, I didn't do it.
We could also use it for tourism and museum.
No, not
and
this train.
relics.
No, not this. Yes, museum. Yes, museum. Let it just be packed.
Yeah.
People can use it. Sure, you can use it to. They can decide to rebrand it. You can use it to shoot music videos and something. They can rebrand the inside.
But this guy asked a very important question. He said, "How can a train detach?"
How come?
He said, "Imagine you
Without
and
any
Olive
external-
on that train coming to Breakfast Central. Then you arrive first. Olive will still be in Ogba, in Ikeja. Joe, where's Olive now? Our train detached. They are pushing it. It's coming."
Time in a country like Nigeria.
Kinkley said, "What is this? Is this the train?" Okay, you've taken out the tweet. Sorry, I was reading that.
Let's see if we can put it back.
All
to the
right,
last
is this
stream.
the train that borrowed so much money to resuscitate, or the type of train these men see abroad when they go on vacations or treatment? Why are leaders heartless? God help this country. And that's a very valid question that Kingsley has asked, because the lots of us here in Nigeria, we all own cars, or some of us own cars, or if you don't own a car, or your car has an issue, you take a taxi because you don't want to enter the public transport. Abroad, when you go to London, you will enter the trains, not because...
Yeah, regardless
apart
of your class in
exactly,
society.
apart from the fact that the taxis are ridiculously expensive, but the trains are comfortable. In fact, the influencers, all of them will be doing videos of themselves in trains because you're proud to show yourself in that train. It's not embarrassing. What we saw there is very, very embarrassing. It's beyond pathetic.
Yeah,
The
so you
quality
could see
of our-
how cramped they were. It's not suitable
Yes.
for
And
human transportation.
if only, you know, in the next few years, that's an area that we can focus on. Here in Lagos, we experience the amount of traffic and congestion that we experience because Lagos is really a mega city. Everybody wants to come to Lagos.
Yeah.
And we have to now start to look for alternative means of
The
transportation.
infrastructure,
Our waterways, our railways, because if everybody is depending on the same road infrastructure, there's going to be repeated breakdown of the roads. All the potholes that you're always
And,
coming to complain
traffic
about, we'll keep
jam.
seeing them. Then the traffic jam. Right, because I heard, I've never tried it, but that from the island to Ikorodu is like 15-20 minutes with a ferry. Whereas
Yes,
imagine
it
if you
is.
had to go by road, how much longer?
And
So
we're blessed. I
there's
mean,
so
it's
much
called the
potential.
state of aquatic splendor, which we can leverage a water transportation,
Yes.
an alternative. And it's a good thing that after all these years, at least people might complain about the distance it covers and the coverage area. But I think we need a train on that Lekki-Ajah corridor.
I absolutely
Lekki, Ekpe.
They said it's going to be added on the
Yeah, I
Lagos
think
coastal,
that should be the
coastal
purple-
road.
purple
That it's,
line.
there's going to be a lane for trains.
But you know what's
But we do not know where.
But I'm
and
not
how
even. I want the state government to do. I think Purple Line is part of their plans, and they're expanding the current Blue Line to get to past Lasu. There's currently works ongoing. The one that gets to Festac. So great initiative by the Lagos state government.
All right. I mean, we do look forward to having more expansion in Nigeria's railway sector. There's much work that needs to be done, and there's so much that it would do if we invest in Nigeria's railway sector. It would reduce the traffic times, the waiting times on the road. It would help our roads last longer because many people...
I mean,
will opt
personally, for
the
me,
alternative
I've
mix.
used the train to Ibadan and Abeokuta a few times, and I have less anxiety on the trains. You know, when you're in a car, when you're on the expressway and they're about to overtake, and then you see these long articulated vehicles, you have some sort of apprehension. But on the trains, there's also business class and first class. You can have breakfast, there are USB charging ports.
But those
they're
are
very
that's
comfortable.
modern train, not this one that we saw.
Yes, so we should upgrade this.
This one is green.
This is train. This is train. There's no N. Train. However, I also saw a comment where someone said, a patriotic Nigerian said, we shouldn't talk less or talk down on the incidents because even in India, such trains still exist. And he was
Why
trying
must
to
we compare ourselves with
and I wonder
negative things?
I don't know
Why
why
can't you
we
say
always
even
find
in Japan or even in South Korea?
Exactly.
Or even in Singapore?
Why do we like to retrogress? Or in
That's
other
not
words,
being
look for a
patriotism.
landing
That's
ground for
benchmarking yourself.
negativity. Exactly.
Not on excellence, but mediocrity.
It doesn't make sense at all.
Thank you, Joe.
But then again, I just laughed and I said, you see, that's the problem we have as a
Keep
country.
making excuses
the way
for-
people
for
think. And I'm
mediocrity.
sure that budgets and funds are being given to maintain this particular train. But unfortunately, it's not done. And the biggest problem we have is systematic. It's a systematic problem. Nobody will be held accountable for this thing that happened.
Does it matter that
Nobody.
after this incident, the
Nobody.
response
I mean, they might
was
be
very swift?
embarrassed to do something
No, they
because
did
I mean,
something
it's on
immediately.
social
They
media.
reconnected
Okay.
They reconnected it, yeah.
And then the train was able to get to its destination. So maybe that
Okay.
counts for something. There was emergency response no lives were lost, thankfully, and this was quickly sorted. But
and thanks to that reporter, by the way.
That reporter
everybody
was,
is a citizen reporter. The commentary is always legendary. Bro, our job is at stake. So many Nigerians.
And now reporters.
Even the Kwamon video, there was commentary in the background.
Let's go now to that Kwamon video. All right, so like we said, new videos have emerged to show what really happened. Remember yesterday we were caught between who was at fault after reading the press releases from the Aviation Authority, not forgetting from Kwamwon's PR team, and then we also saw a response that came from Value Jet. But let's see the video that will help us to conclude this case, as it were. Take a look. All right, so that's the video that you can see there. Multiple videos have emerged showing that someone was at fault, regardless of what we saw yesterday.
I think this was an established fact from the get-go.
Yeah, it was. But
yes,
we had to take it to the media court to ensure that the facts are purely and concrete and they're fully established.
What's the punishment for this? NCAA slammed 6 months flight ban on Kwamon over security bridge. I believe this is a slap on the wrist, and the penalty is not commensurate to the disorder and to the chaos we witnessed on the tarmac. It should be more than 6 months. It should be the crime is not commensurate to the punishment. And I guess it's because of the personality involved. If this were other crimes, just watching that video, this will call for psychiatric evaluation.
All right.
Absolutely.
Now, the different camps have started to put out their side of the story. Let's hear from the NCAA. They say the Nigeria Civil Aviation Authority, NCAA, has officially petitioned the Attorney General of the Federation and the Inspector General of Police to launch a thorough investigation into the incident involving musician King Wasiu Omogbolahun Olasukomi Adewale Ayinde Marshal, full government name, popularly known as K1 The Ultimate, and domestic airline Value Jet. The incident, which occurred on Tuesday, 5th August 2025, reportedly disrupted standard operational procedures and raised concerns over passenger conduct and airline safety protocols. According to preliminary reports, during a scheduled Value Jet flight, K1 The Ultimate was allegedly involved in actions that violate the Nigeria Civil Aviation regulations. So here they say, while full details of the incident are being compiled, the NCAA has emphasized the importance of upholding aviation safety standards and ensuring accountability regardless of the parties involved. So now let's skip. Now, let's go to the advisory. They say, furthermore, in light of the growing concern, the DG of the Civil Aviation, Captain Chris Najomo, has also issued an advisory to the airline operators of Nigeria, urging the immediate consideration and institution of a no-fly list for K1 The Ultimate on any commercial flight, Babagodi board train, pending the outcome of official investigations. And if they train, the thing can disconnect while in transit. Well, this is what they said, and they're saying that this advisory is in line with global aviation standards that prioritize the safety of passengers.
Private jets are also commercial.
Yes.
All right. So now let's move away. NCAA has said their side of the story is still fighting. Now let's bring in Festus.
And they've taken it to the appropriate authorities.
Yes.
Fantastic petition to the
All
Nigerian
right. They've of course said he should be put on a no-fly list and that this is in line with global aviation standards. Let's now hear from Festus Keyamo, the minister. All right. Festus Keyamo says, I've received reports from all the relevant aviation agencies regarding the altercation between the staff and crew of ValueJet and Kwamwon at the Nnamdi Azikiwe
I don't
International
think there
Airport,
was an
Abuja.
altercation. It was someone being a nuisance at the tarmac.
He said, from all the details so far received, my preliminary impression is that it was obviously a case of temporary loss of sanity. Now we say, then they craze and control on both sides, which could have led to serious fatalities. Contrary to what the agents of Kwamwon has said, he constantly moved his position on the tarmac to actually block the aircraft.
So that press statement was false.
To take position on the runway for takeoff. This is totally unacceptable behavior. The issue of whether he was carrying water or alcohol is not even the issue at this point. It is a physical blockage of the aircraft from taxiing. That is the reprehensible conduct here, which akin to a hostage situation. The actual video footage showing this recalcitrant behavior is hereby attached. On the other hand, no amount of provocation should make the captain and pilot of an aircraft begin to taxi without ensuring that the security personnel have safely moved an unruly passenger away that is standing in front of an aircraft. Both sides breached standard safety protocol as required by ICAO, that's International Civil Aviation Organization. I have noted that the NCAA has temporarily suspended the license of the captain and the pilot pending full investigation. I commend them for their proactive action. However, I have also questioned their sense of justice in only acting against one party and not the other party.
Correct.
What applies to the goose must also to the gander.
Correct.
That is one of the tenets of justice I have preached all my life. I will not sit idly and allow this to pass. So this is, he also has directed that the NCAA place Kwamwon on a no-fly list pending further and full investigation. And then he attached a video. We played this video earlier. This is the video that he attached to it. So you can see that from his argument. It was a balanced punishment. Say, when you do this to A, you must do this to B as well. You can't sanction
So you
the
could see
plane
him physically
blocking the plane.
the
How
plane.
do you not see a
Is
plane?
this Superman?
The ants.
Are you
that you do not see
Superman?
the ants. This
Then
massive
all
plane.
this big manism, I will make a call. So let's assume, because the video also emerged of the president of Nigeria wishing him a happy birthday.
That was
Mr.
way
Speaker.
back. Yeah.
Old video. So you have access to the president. So, and then, okay, let's assume you are calling the #1 citizen of the land.
To do what?
Do you think he will support that recalcitrant behavior you're exhibiting or being a nuisance at that level? Of course, it's wrong. People should, conduct themselves better.
I think I always say this, and I'm going to say it again. Sometimes let's buy out time and visit the hospitals. Yes, visit the hospitals.
It's very humbling.
Or visit the mortuary. This is not to say anything. Just do that. You'll be humbled. When you see people who have money, but they're begging for life, they're just sitting down there. They can't move. Either they're incapacitated or they have their spine broken. Why am I bringing this into this conversation? We have a problem, and I said it again. It's a systemic problem where, do you know who I am? Because you're closer to power, so you feel, how would you stand? Yesterday while we were watching this video, the first video that came out didn't show this one where it was right in front. If you take a look at that video,
Well, the one that went by the
side.
side.
yes, we only saw the one by the side. When the aircraft was taxiing to the right, take note, he also moved to the right. And at some point, one of the videos showed where he put his hand, and I'm like, are you Superman?
Okay.
That's giving some area boy mentality.
Let's also have Kwamon's daughter, because she replied to this as well. For those who were not aware, Kwamon's daughter had shared her own side. So she had replied to FAA, and this is the letter. It says, our attention has been drawn to reports alleging that King Wasiu Ayinde Marshal K1 the Ultimate displayed unruly conduct while attempting to board a ValueJet flight on August 5th, 2025, allegedly causing a breach of aviation protocol. We wish to categorically state that this narrative is not only exaggerated, but also misleading.
We have eyes.
Go on. Let's hear.
Did K1 act in a manner that endangered lives of which safety regulations? The substance in question. This looks like a ChatGPT typed answer, though. All these, they are... The substance in question, which was wrongly sensationalized, was nothing more than plain drinking water given to him at the airport lounge while he waited to board the aircraft. Despite his respectful effort to clarify this, the situation was unnecessarily escalated. Claims that K1 blocked the aircraft or attempted to disrupt operations are completely unfounded. The veteran artist, who is globally respected and frequently travels both locally and internationally, understands and strictly adheres to aviation protocols. If indeed there had been anything inappropriate in his conduct, the head of airport security officials from relevant agencies such as FAN and NCAA, as well as the chairman and managing director of the airline, would not have reached out personally to appeal, tender apologies, and even go as far as arranging a private jet to fly him to Lagos. At no cost, despite persistent persuasion from the airline's top executives, K1 graciously declined the offer. It must also be emphasized that K1 was the victim in this incident. No one else but him. Wow. And his personal assistant was directly involved. The water was given to him at the lounge, and staff at the lounge confirmed content even after K1 had opened the flask at the foot of the plane. In light of this recent developments, it's important to note that the pilot involved now has her license suspended. Given the circumstances, it is no surprise if she attempts to deflect blame. Surely she must lie to cover herself. Wow. Anyway, this is the media aid, not the daughter.
Gaslighting on a
We took
globe.
this yesterday. This was dropped yesterday, if you look at the date as well. And while this was dropped, we took it yesterday. I think what she did was she just reposted it. She stood by it and said, this is what happened.
Gaslighting on a global scale.
I'm very sure that she's going to retract this.
She won't. I mean, you need a level of shame and awareness
she's
to
a public
retract
figure
this
as well. I mean,
but I mean, it's out there. I don't think it's. She will just realize that this is false.
Professionally,
and you leave it there.
I mean, professionally, you guys have been in the media for years. Let me act like I'm interviewing both of you now. What's the best thing he can do at this point?
Just apologize.
Come out and apologize.
Do a video.
So the thing is, I wish the people will understand, especially public officials, the amount of influence that they wield and how we're not in 1999 anymore. When something is going wrong, then there are different sides to the story. There's your side, but there are other people who are there who have video evidence. The cameras are rolling and filming, and we show different sides of the story that you're trying to portray. So if you're telling a story to suit your narrative, you better well be telling the truth, because there'll be video angles to show that. That being said, this again reminds me of another incident that happened a few months ago. Comrade Adams Oshomole and Epis, and the fracas that ensued because of flying. And till today, there's still two sides of that story. We don't know what had happened.
What has the NCAA done to that?
About it,
and
we don't know
as well.
So there needs to be established protocol to let people know that no Nigerian is more important than any other Nigerian.
Absolutely.
There have been information, like if you will hear where they will say that there are times flights have been delayed because certain people needed to get on the flights. I mean, these are things we hear in the grapevine.
And from the tone of that,
it's happened.
From the tone of his media aid, that press statement, you could
a bit
tell,
cocky.
Very cocky, name dropping. He said the MD of FAN, he graciously rejected it. He's saying the MD of FAN is his fan.
It's his fan. You know what we'll do, Benga? I think the truth is out. And the three things we deduce from this is, one, yes, the pilot was wrong to have taxied and looking to take off, even when you had humans right there. That's one. The good thing is action has been taken on her license. I mean, rather, she's been suspended. Let's see what will come out of that.
The Nigeria police needs to invite
as for
Kwame
the legend who carried out that, the problem is, let me just say this quickly. His fans are watching. His diehard fans, especially those who are unlettered, they're watching. Those who are unlettered, we know what they do. We know how they feel, how they act. So this action would drive them to feel that, oh, listen, I can even do the same somewhere. I can also.
I mean, portable. Sorry, Elizabeth Joyce might be watching this, and they'll say, "Look, if my idol can do this, then
my idol,
I can do that as well."
I can do it too.
And this is a lesson I think Nigeria needs to understand, that we're slowly becoming a lawless nation because of impunity, because of a lack of ensuring
because of
that
crimes that don't go punished,
exactly
that
because
go
of
unpunished.
People are not punished for what they do, and impunity therefore reigns. We have to be very careful that those who are even older that we look up to, who at some point will have to, you know, go away and let the young ones come up. The young ones are learning from them. Wonder what will happen.
What examples are you setting?
What examples are you setting? And then later on, you will start saying, imagine you will be the same person coming out to complain that the country is indeed bad in our own time. In your own time, what did you do? This is what you did.
It's human to err. Just come out, issue an apology.
Simple.
All this denial.
So
and
I expect, we heard that the daughter, I would expect the daughter to retract that statement, possibly also come out with a statement apologizing to people and saying, listen, I may have been wrong. We expect the so-called, in quotes, his PA or whoever put that
media
aid, come out and say, okay, we have noticed that we erred. So, simple, just apologize. And then we expect the legendary himself to come out and do a video, possibly in Yoruba, and then in English, and then stating clearly that, oh, I erred, I made a mistake. And
we must realize
it will make us love you more.
I don't think you know what egos for.
At the end of the day, we must realize that there must be, actions must have consequences in this kind of situation, because
absolutely,
if we don't see influential people being made to realize that they are also subject to the law, what will happen is there will continue to be an abuse of processes, especially by those who are meant to lead by example. Ask them if these things that happen in our Nigerian airports. If it will happen in Heathrow or Gatwick, they wouldn't try this outside Nigeria.
It will still be in detention.
They're even going too far. Egypt.
Exactly.
Egypt,
they para. So
Egypt, you can't even just to walk on the tarmac. And walk
if it was in Egypt,
forget.
It will now be in a pyramid like Egyptian mummy. I'm telling you, those guys are not joking.
It's going to be tough if it were in Egypt.
Egypt, the land of Pharaoh.
Let's just be honest. No, let's be honest. We do things so much with levity, and we think
impunity,
it's normal.
Yeah.
We once again,
the Nigerian factor.
to all those who are watching us, yes, we've allowed our emotions come out because that's how we feel. We're humans. These things start from traffic, where somebody feels they could do one way. Until you get out because they have a siren.
God will bless you.
Some people will come in and tell you, idiot, get out, because they are doing a convoy and they're carrying tomatoes.
Joe, God will bless you.
Tomatoes for commissioner's wife.
I was at the Freedom Way.
And they hit your car.
Freedom Way in Lagos, Freedom Way traffic light. And the traffic light was red. Nobody was meant to move. In front of us, a vehicle with escort, police escort, came down. So the vehicle ran the red light, and because the vehicle ran the red light, the one behind it, of course, now wanted to run it. Then the police came down with their gun, and they were shouting and threatening the police alongside the policewoman who was there controlling traffic, and they started intimidating the person who wanted to go behind them. So it's like this VIP went. You know how people try to follow?
I know.
You know, the VIPs and those convoys, because they are clearing traffic. So you want to move now. And I think that thing is the most annoying thing that happens here in Nigeria. Every year we hear the IGP saying he's withdrawing policemen from the
VIP. Don't use sirens for
I wish they had that sense of urgency, the way they always rush into things to fix Nigeria.
Anyway, let's take reactions to this story regarding Kwamon versus Value Jet. Nigerians have started talking. Michael Achimuguna, I must applaud him. He's always very proactive and helping in resolving a number of our aviation issues. He says, post 9/11, safety measures in airports across the world became tougher. As technology grows, so do crime and criminals. Some items are considered dangerous goods and cannot be allowed on board and aircraft. If airport security personnel do you a favor based on who you are and allow you to breach security protocols because of who you are, what about the day that they do a criminal with explosives the favor of allowing him on board with a dangerous good that he explains as safe, because he also screams, do you know who I am? Would you like it if your safety is jeopardized based on, do you know who I am? Is that not a valid threat to your life and those of other law-abiding passengers? Let us understand why the rules were put in place and respect the laws. It costs nothing, but it saves a lot. The Honorable Minister of Aviation and Aerospace Development, Festus Keyamo, never skips a security check at the airport. He submits to the law because he knows that it is also for his own safety. If the man at the apex of the industry submit to these protocols, so should every passenger. The checks are not done to diminish your self-worth. Safety and security are top priority in aviation.
Very well said.
Very well
Michael,
written. Very well written. And beyond the issue of what was in the flags, I think we had moved past that. They had ejected him. It was his actions. This one says, Edmond of God says, that was a hostage situation. Once the incident is documented and his name enters the database, Kwamon will be lucky to avoid NFL into US, Europe and other places. Big manism is a blight on Nigeria.
And I think it's going to go international if care is not taken.
That pilot should also be charged with attempted murder. His pilot license should be revoked immediately. Unruly passengers can always be bundled by security agents and taken away, but pilot's action was very dangerous.
They agree.
It was very
and
dangerous.
also, they need to petition the security for not doing their job.
Everybody.
You have to physically move him if he's not going to respect himself.
Yes, arrest him, carry handcuffs if you need to.
Because if you were some ordinary Nigerian, they would have bonded
they would have beaten you. They would have
Yes.
beaten you since.
Exactly.
In short, you wouldn't even go past with the bottle.
Law suspended for Kwamon as he ought to be charged to court for his behavior. But this selective exemption confirms to friends abroad that indeed Nigeria is a plantain republic.
Well, it's diminished it from banana to plantain.
I don't agree.
It is reprehensible that an individual would try to hold an aircraft hostage and all he gets.
I mean, if you don't charge him to court, then it means, the laws apply to people differently.
Say this year. Let's say this year.
I'm not talking about the Banana Republic issue. But why has he not been charged to court?
Benga, let's do it here. Recently, we did start something with Lagos State government, talking about the bad roads, and now they're patching the roads. We're also asking for the lights. So let's start here. Let's wait. Let's do countdown to what will happen to K1.
All right.
And of course, we'll start again.
But you also can have your thoughts shared about this. You can go on YouTube. We're streaming live. Drop your comments regarding this. And as the show proceeds, we'll visit YouTube to take comment section, to check the comment section. But for now, let's bring you what our top stories this morning are. This morning on Breakfast Central, our top stories. President Tinubu signs insurance industry bill into law. What does this mean? We'll find out shortly. Federal government confirms WAEC results, issues fixed, announces 24 hours updates. They have fixed the glitch. And then we'll also be looking at crisis erupts in ADC as 2027 race intensifies. Elections are getting closer. Concerns mount over WASC's results drop. Performance declines as only 38% candidates pass. And the newspaper front pages will be part of the show this morning. Stick around for all these and more. Thousands of students were left in limbo after a technical glitch disrupted the release of their WAEC results. The West African Examinations Council recently came under renewed fire following the temporary shutdown of its result checker portal on Wednesday evening, a move it attributed to technical issues. The announcement posted via WAEC's official X handle at WAEC Nigeria sparked criticisms as many Nigerians expressed outrage over the poor performance recorded in the 2025 West Africa Senior School Certificate Examination.
This situation led to the Ministry of Education intervening into the matter with a statement issued on Thursday saying the glitch has been resolved and updates will be available within 24 hours. Many have asked what could have caused the glitch and what does it say about the integrity of our national examination systems. Joining us for this discussion is the team lead and EIC development at EIC Dev reporter, Mr. Mojid Alabi. Mr. Mojid Alabi, we're happy to have you join us again.
Thank you so much.
You seem to be coming here frequently.
To discuss a lot of bad news.
There's a glitch in the education sector. So what's your take on this latest glitch and, of course, the mass failure from the results we saw earlier with regards to mathematics and English from the just concluded SSC?
Yeah, you know, I'm almost tired of coming to discuss negative developments in the education sector. But as a nation, thank you so much for bringing this up again. It's something that could be very disappointing and very embarrassing. It is not, we understand crisis is societal. Definitely there will always be problems, but when you keep having the same problems in different different bodies. We'll talk about INEC, we'll talk about JAM, we'll talk about WAEC. It shows that there is something very, very terrible with our system, and that is why some of us are very sad. Where it is getting to now is that it is affecting the integrity of our examination bodies. In the past, you sit your WASC, you want to seek admission abroad. The next thing is that only your WASC and you just obtain form into tertiary institutions abroad. And because of credibility, WAEC is a 70-year-old, it's more than 70 years now. It doesn't just conduct examination in Nigeria alone. It does in other West African nations, from Ghana to the Gambia, from the Gambia to Sierra Leone, and also Liberia. So they have not recorded such in those countries. And Nigeria, we say we are the big brother Africa. So with the big brother Africa, it becomes a major, major problem for us because we have a heavy load to carry. And that heavy load is actually, the problem is caused by me and you and every one of us. So it's not about WAEC alone. It's not about the government alone. It's about all of us.
I didn't cause any problem.
We are responsible, and we are going to explain why we are all responsible.
Because why are we responsible?
Oh, thank you so much. You know, number one, there is the craze for paper qualification. You have craze for paper qualification. Every one of us, before you bring anybody in here, you want to know where you bringing your certificate. Did you finish from school? It is really not about skill. And the craze for people to get the certificate, that moral problem is already in the society. You now have parents encouraging their children to cheat. You have syndicates who are also special centers. So it is in the process of trying to defeat this. It is not that terrible in other countries. And when people say, what? You look at WAEC again. We must even commend WAEC for coming back to say, look, there is an error. Because it is something to say, let it go. I have been dealing with WAEC in the last 15, 16 years. And there have been instances that results obtained by candidates, there was a particular year, maybe around 2013. One secondary school in Ogudu there, in Lagos, their entire results were taken off the website. Probably by hackers or whoever, we don't want to know. But some of these students used the result to gain admission to different schools. In South Africa, in Saudi Arabia, one of them was in University of Ilorin, and they were already around 400 level. So, and you know, institutions will go and do result verification.
Check, yes.
So when they went to check, they didn't see the result. We kept on mounting pressure on the examination body. I know I did report around that time, maybe 2013 or 2012. We did report for about 6 series, looking at what could have happened, what transpired. There will always be technical glitches. And when it was resolved, in fact, we were celebrated. I was with National Mirror at that time. And we were able to get the result back for those students. In fact, one of the students is already, I think he's done with his PhD in the US or so now. The boy still called me Ismail. So many of them like that, some came from. So what happened on this one is that, I'm sorry, WAEC was trying to prevent people from cheating. At the end of the day, it was creating more problems. There are also internal crises in WAEC, no doubt about that. So there could have been some kind of sabotage in-house. But what I'm saying is that what actually led to students sitting exams till midnight, creating different steps to block all this kind of problem is because Nigerians were in the habit of cheating the system.
I might slightly beg to differ, and why I will beg to differ is because you cannot, 2 wrongs don't make a right. So if there was already a challenge with Nigeria's adherence to laws and rules, and then they found a way to maneuver and get involved in examination malpractice, in an attempt to curb that problem, it's not advisable to try and create another problem. Let's go back to when this JAM situation happened, and Dr. Alausa had announced that they will be also ensuring that WAEC becomes CBT, goes through the CBT process. We talked about it on this show. And we said, is WAEC ready? Because before you decide to go full on CBT, you decide to go full on technology.
You need to have the infrastructure in place.
Have the necessary infrastructure. Look at the number of out-of-school children. Then look at the ones that are now in the school. How many of them have ever seen a laptop? How many of them have ever, how many of them know how to operate it? Because part of the argument that we had at the last time when this happened to JAMB was students who will say there was I will try to answer one question. Before I answer, it has taken me to another page. I'm trying to go back. I can't get that. So if you as a body saw that JAMB, that is a very well-recognized institution, had this kind of challenge, and you went ahead to still go ahead and digitize it without putting the necessary procedures.
JAMB is just
one day.
One day.
And it's one day. This one is several courses. You went ahead. That shows you did not do your feasibility studies. You didn't do impact assessment. You went ahead and made a decision. I mean, don't you think that they put the cart before the horse?
That was not what actually transpired. They had not even gone full-blown CBT. So the examination that was conducted was actually combined, paper, pencil. The one that had problem is not CBT.
So where did the technical glitch come from?
So the technical glitch that they are talking about is not about whether the student answered or not. So there is something they call serialization. It's a new process. And that is also a process of checking cheats. So when they introduced the serialization, it affected 4 subjects, according to WAEC: English, mathematics, biology, and economics. And what transpired was that in the process of collation of results, it's like each day, and I've always been saying this, each day you introduce a measure to stop corruption. The people who are corrupt are also developing another measure to counter it. What actually aggravated the crisis that time is a minister just standing up. We understand the kind of the passion and commitment of the minister is to have things done. Probably it's coming from America. Is somebody who understands that things should be able to be fixed, this and that. But he doesn't really understand the peculiarity of our challenges back home here. When you just woke up and you said, all examination bodies must go full CBT next tomorrow, then the people who are cheating the system, because it happens, they don't understand how much is going to go. Some of us, we relate with almost whether tutorial centers, they have association. So we used to understand what they do. So what is happening is that immediately some of them had that this thing is going full CBT next year. They don't know whether they are candidates. You know, when people are registering candidates, they say, take them to special centers, take them to this. So they know that we have been defeating this in one way or the other before. We don't know whether we'll be able to tackle it next year. We must do everything possible, humanly possible this year, to ensure that candidates have their result. Because by next year, they don't know whether the CBT is going to be able to tackle this thing. So what transpired is in the compilation of now the result. I thought what happened during the exam, quite unnecessary, quite embarrassing, but it was like trying to beat a system and you realize that you run into another logistic problem.
So what's the serialization?
So I can't explain this because I don't work with WAEC. But based on what WAEC explained, serialization is a new system of collating results. You know, when they serialize the papers, they understand that, according to them, it wasn't fully explained to us, but when they serialize the papers, there is a need for a systemic way of actually collating the result. But in the process of the result collation, they realized that because it's a new system that was developed, they realized that it didn't capture the serialization. It only, because today, if you are marking, before they used to have centers, people used to mark manually. Today, they now have a way. I know people who marked this WAEC, the process changed. You are with your laptop, you must have data. You know how you can scan through whatever. Once you finish marking, there is a way you upload and it goes to the central portal system before WAEC itself now collates. So it was in the process of doing that that they realized that, look, we did not do what we were supposed to do. I know there are schools, there are students, there is a particular candidate that sent me results yesterday. And I look at the results, A1 physics, A1. I'm sorry, I'm not doubting the capacity of but I knew that result will not be genuine for that candidate. A1 this, A1 that. It could be the work of the centers. It could be the work of, but why I came out to say, look, we committed this error. We should knock them. I agree. Because you can, because it's about the integrity of the examinations that we take. Before now, if, for instance, by next year, somebody is going to say, I want to seek admission abroad, they look at the results you are having again and say, is that not Nigeria? Where JAMB had issue? where WAEC had issue, it becomes a problem. WAEC has been doing this for the past 70-something years.
By now, you should have been able to perfect certain things and not have.
And that is the challenge with technology. Technology, unlike the period of analog, where you are able to monitor everything. Once technology is so terrible that it's what you put in. Once you push those things in, they come out. And you think it is foolproof until you realize that somebody can just tamper with something within and it brings something else. And that's the challenge that I've seen with this. But you can't resolve this without also deploying technology.
Let's also look at the fact that in as much as we want to deploy technology, use it for the betterment of Nigeria's educational system, why is it that we haven't mastered it first before we start the implementation? Because now it's looking like everybody is blaming every mishap on technology. And again, my second question will be in line with that. What will now happen to those whose results have been called because they said, hey, no more, you can't check your results again, we're calling them back, there were errors? What will now happen to those who may have seen their results and they did well, like you just mentioned, but when they now release the new one, they didn't do well? What will happen? So what is it going to cost?
No. What is very simple. There are measures to take. If you feel that I passed this exam, it happened even when we were in schools, that you think, oh, I did very well. You recall your paper. You can challenge the authorities. You can challenge the system. In fact, why I put it there in the statement that if you are not comfortable with the result that we have issued you, you can sue us. It was a way of avoiding that embarrassment that, look, it will be bad when people now begin to take us to court. There are some schools that they know that, for instance, ISL, University of Lagos, so many students, they didn't make it. Those who have checked before, those who checked before WAEC shot the portal again, they realized that, no, this cannot be the result of our children, especially English language. And they said, no, this is not possible. So WAEC knew that if such individuals take them up, it will become more embarrassing. They didn't want what happened to JAM to happen to them.
That's why they shut down.
So that one, they immediately shut down the portal. Those who have checked, you have checked, but you have to recheck. So if you recheck, it now means that if you recheck, if you have a better result, lucky you. If you have a poor result, you also have the opportunity to now challenge and say, it's only that the process is going to be very long and embarrassing. How many people are going to even do that? It's messy. Yeah, it's messy. But we never had this issue before. And that's why I said we must also check within. Leadership about organization is about people. WAEC has been having running battles with its staff. The current leadership must check itself.
Are we saying there's sabotage somewhere?
I'm not saying that expressly, but I'm saying that in an institution where members of staff are unhappy, there have been protests. Last year there was a protest. There have been protests. They have been challenging the system. When people working with you are unhappy with you, I don't know, anything could happen. Okay. That's number one. Number two is the fact that there shouldn't be a trust issue in an organization. The head cannot be everywhere. You cannot say, it's only me. I know where the key is, and I will be the only one to keep the key. As you keep the key, somebody else is bringing up another key.
Especially an organization where integrity is key.
All right. Still going back to that, CBT, now that we've seen technical glitches as a result of serialization, there had been announcements about going into full-blown CBT by next year. And, but from what it looks like, we also saw another report where it was said that the government has realized that they may not have the necessary infrastructure to go full-on into CBT by November of this year. If you had to advise the body, WAEC, would you advise them to go full CBT?
I've always been against full CBT, and I'll continue to be against full CBT. Especially for examination like WAEC. It could be easy for JAM. Even with JAM, we still had issues. You are going to go to schools in the interior. Some of us, because we do development work, we travel around. Go to different places, from north to south, south to east, east to west. You are going to have schools that children struggle to even have seats to sit down. When former Governor Rauf Aregbesola introduced Okpoimo, it was I know we had opportunity, we had interactions with the deputy governor who was in charge of the education ministry at the time. And we told the deputy governor, look, this is like placing cart before the horse. It is necessary. Because some of them want to run ahead of the time. Because they think that what they see abroad, we can do it. Why are we not doing it back home? You can do it back home. Always, things that we need to understand is that whatever that you think that you have seen abroad must be adapted to our own system here. We must look at the peculiarity of our own cases. Abroad where you have seen it, internet penetration is excellent. Abroad where you have seen it, power source is excellent. Abroad where you have seen it, knowledge about this thing is excellent. Here at home, you are struggling with teachers. We told them, we said, people are going to be downloading materials on it and they will be using it for something else. They say it's not possible. They are blocked it. I can tell you what we experienced, what we saw.
We saw to watch telemovie.
They were watching different things. They were downloading. Is it not Nigerians? Nigerians may not be good at, they are good at creating. They are also very good at recreating. Check your 5-7-year-old, what they can do with your system. Go and check what they are doing with everything, every gadget you hand over to them. They know it more than you do. I don't know how my children were able to convert my magic remote to use DSTV, to use everything. I couldn't believe it. I would be looking for the DSTV remote separately. They say, no, Daddy, you can't do that. Don't worry, we'll use the same remote to control everything. So how did I know? I didn't. How they studied it, I don't know. So that's why we are saying there are levels to everything.
So
go ahead.
Where are we at the moment? What's the situation of things?
When
are they releasing the? When are they open? Have they reopened the portal?
24 hours now, yeah?
What's the way forward?
Yeah, I think we had 24 hours yesterday. Yeah. Hopefully by today they will be able to. I don't know why they even.
Would they have fixed these issues in 24 hours?
Yeah, because you know it's a technical thing, and it's just about what you push in. You quickly just readjust. I think the most important thing is not even about this result alone. We pity the students who have faced this challenge because some of them who have celebrated, they are now being asked not to celebrate.
If you get A1, I got A1. If you get D, WAEC gave me D.
Yeah, so now challenge is that
that's it.
It has always been happening. And because Nigerians don't have the habit of following things through, probably it is not just new. The fate of about 1.9 million candidates in the hand of an organization. These are future presidents. These are future governors. Some people may, for that development alone, some people may have gotten the shock of their life and they may not recover. So it is important for all of us to understand that we need to say that. And I want to promise that on the platform of the Education Writers Association of Nigeria, we are going to have a conversation that is going to involve everybody. We need to discuss the craze for certificates, examination integrity, and the role that the skills can do.
Some parents who have high blood pressure now, I mean, when they get to see
imagine I know how many parents who are getting across to me. Now, you don't even now know the problem. Let me explain this major challenge
in 30
seconds. Some of them, immediately they saw this result because they were waiting for the result to be able to upload on the portal for JAM, UTME, so that they can update their result. They have updated, they have uploaded. Now the challenge is that we JAM allow them to edit that once they check again. It's another conversation that we must have. JAM must listen to their plight and must be able to understand that they need to go back to that portal to now edit, because JAM will tell you that once you have uploaded, you have uploaded.
I'm sure that JAM can, bend the rules this time around, because
that is another
they have
argument.
also been
even internal members of JAM who are reaching out and say, please, so we understand our organization. We may not change, but it's important.
After they have also, they were the ones who led the issues with
we will continue this conversation because what we see here is the collateral damage, and hopefully it doesn't get to that.
And hopefully the next time we have you back will be
for good news. Thank you so much for joining us, Mr. Majida.
Thank you very much for having me. Thank you so much.
Great. We'll go on a break. When we come back, we'll have another interesting conversation here on Breakfast Central. Stay tuned. Welcome back. A wave of disappointment has hit parents and students and educators across Nigeria following the release of the 2025 WAEC results. Only 38.32% of candidates passed with 5 credits, including English and mathematics, a sharp drop in points of nearly 34% from last year. The figures have reignited concerns about the true state of education in the country. News Central's correspondent Sumaya Abubakar reports on this.
2 million students who sat for the 2025 WAEC, only about 754,000 met the benchmark for 5 credits, including English and Maths. With over 450,000 results still pending, stakeholders are pointing to structural failures in the education sector as the real cause of the drop, not just the crackdown on exam malpractice. For affected families, the pain is personal.
Many of the teachers who are running classrooms, teaching maths and English language, are actually entrusting the people who did not study these subjects. So you find lawyers who are teaching English language and teaching literature. You find mechanical engineers, chemical engineers, sometimes biochemists who, because the people who study mathematics are not available, have become the last resort.
I put my child to read very hard. I was assisting him for us to see the result. Honestly, we are very disappointed. For a person to get B3 for all the subjects and only maths and English, the subjects that are very important, for him to get F9, honestly, I'm not happy.
With growing concerns over the standard of education, the quality of schools is also under scrutiny, and beyond the classroom, many students are battling distractions.
Now, you notice that some parents, in fact, most people take their children out to private schools. So parents now feel as if government schools are not doing anything, which is wrong.
You could see children of 13, 14 years old using phone to do what? To do social media, to do TikTok. Why? They don't have time to read. And the main reason why they don't have time to read is because they are dependent on the fact that school authorities will allow them to do malpractice.
With over 450,000 results still pending due to the issues ranging from verification to suspected malpractice, WAEC says investigations are ongoing. But this year's sharp decline has opened up a broader conversation, not just about exam conduct, but the overall quality of education and learning in Nigeria's schools. In Abuja, for News Central, Sumaya Abubakar.
The African Democratic Congress, a party hailed as the future of Nigeria's opposition, appears to be dealing with issues of internal tensions, leadership rivalries and structural concerns beneath the surface, which appears to be threatening its momentum ahead of 2027. There are reports on Tuesday that some state chairmen of the ADC had called on INEC to resist any pressure to recognize any illegal change of leadership in the party.
But the African Democratic Congress, ADC, has denied these reports that the INEC has refused to recognize the Senate leadership under Senator David Mark-led leadership of the party. The National Publicity Secretary of the party had dismissed the reports as false, asking Nigerians to concentrate on the task of mobilizing the long-suffering people of the country for the great task of saving it from the hands of the ruling party. This morning, joining us to give us more clarity in this regard is the former Minister of Youth and Sports and now National Publicity Secretary of the ADC, Mr. Bolaji Abdullahi. Good morning. Thank you very much for joining us.
Good morning. Thank you very much. It's my pleasure joining you this morning.
It's a pleasure to have you. 2 ADC state chairmen have called the Mark-led coalition a clandestine hijack of the party, with critics also arguing that the leadership change bypassed constitutional processes when former Senate President David Mark was made interim chairman of the party. How do you respond to these claims?
Well, I mean, you said 2 out of 37. That is 2 out of 37. That's if you add the Federal Capital Territory. But what I can also say is that these 2 you are talking about were part of a meeting we called earlier last month, just shortly after we joined the ADC. The chairman of the party, Senator David Mark, invited all the state chairmen to Abuja and assured them that they are going to keep their position, that nobody was going to show them off, that we only wanted to work with them. All the state chairmen, including FCT, were present and they all signed attendance. So we are surprised that suddenly two of them will go and be holding press conferences. But you see, we understand what is going on. From the start, we know that this, the ruling party, the ruling APC government does not want any opposition party to survive. So they will continue to recruit individuals like that to destabilize any opposition party. They tried everything to ensure that ADC did not survive up to this extent. But we knew what they were capable of doing, so we were ready for them all inch of the way. So you see, it has become lucrative now to hold press conferences and make allegations, and then some hoping that somebody in government will notice you and see you as a potential tool to be used for destabilization. I mean, for us, we've made it clear. Any member at any level that has any genuine grievances will be willing and ready to address those grievances. But if we have a feeling or we have the understanding that what you're trying to do is just to be the tool in the hands of those who would rather Nigeria is a one-party state, then we will deal with it accordingly. So we are not bothered. We took every step to ensure that everything that needed to be done in terms of the legal process was done. So we are not bothered by this heckling, if I may use that word.
Now, beyond your accusation that maybe the ruling party has a hand in this, if indeed the electoral umpire, INEC, recognizes the MAC-led leadership, then why hasn't the commission, INEC commission, uploaded or updated its records, particularly on its portal? Why doesn't it reflect the current leadership structure of the ADC? And it's the ADC leadership prematurely declaring legitimacy without the required institutional backing.
No, that's not correct, because the National Executive Committee of the party that brought the new leadership on board was held in Abuja in the full presence of INEC officials. So they are fully aware of what we have done. What happened was just procedural error, and we are doing everything to rectify it. It's not a, in this kind of atmosphere. In this kind of atmosphere, it's easy to suspect conspiracy at every point. And that's why we came out to debunk the rumor circulating that INEC has refused to. If you talk to
so
INEC,
we should disregard the information on INEC's portal?
Yes, that's what I said. The letter that was written to communicate the report of the NEC to INEC was not properly channeled. And that's of the issue. There's nothing more to it than that.
Thank you for clarifying.
You can confirm this independently, yeah.
All right. Do you think that possibly INEC is indeed meddling with internal affairs of the ADC? Because some politicians, especially members of the coalition, are starting to say that INEC may seem to be a culprit in this situation, because even Ralph Nwosu still goes ahead to say he is the chairman of the ADC.
I don't think you have the correct information. I speak with Ralph almost on a daily basis. He has never claimed that he's still the chairman of ADC. Ralph has been at the vanguard of the coalition from the start, and he wouldn't say that. I don't know where that information came from. Ralph will not say that.
Now, has there been has there been any information? Has there been any attempt at reconciliation with the old guard of the party and the party's new leadership to engage aggrieved factions, especially those state chairmen who openly opposed the transition in dialogue and reconciliation efforts? Are there any ongoing as we speak?
You see, you need to, maybe I need to make you understand better what is going on. I've tried to explain. You see, the Yorubas have a saying that you can only wake someone who is truly sleeping. You cannot wake someone who is pretending to sleep. For us, it's very clear what is going on. I mean, we don't have problems with any member of the ADC at any level. All these things you see are just contrived. I mean, if you have 37 state chairmen, now you have 2 calling press conferences. So what happened to the remaining 34? You are not talking about the remaining 34. Why are you so focused on these 2 that are just exemptions and trying to do something different? We don't have any. There's nothing to reconcile because you use the word reconciliation. You see, we have a way of magnifying these issues and painting the image of a crisis, an ongoing crisis or an unfolding crisis. Yeah, I know it's good for the headlines, but we don't have any crisis in the ADC at the moment, and we don't have any reason to think that INEC is complicit in anything to destabilize our party.
Okay, so I mean, you did say earlier that the communique to INEC wasn't properly addressed. So has it now been, regularized? Has it gone through proper channels? And how soon are we expecting the INEC portal to be updated with the correct information?
Well, all we can do is to play our part, and we hope that INEC will also play its part rapidly, because the situation we are discussing has generated a lot of tension, not only within the ADC party, but also across the country, because Nigerians are desirous of seeing a flourishing multi-party democracy. So if anything, and ADC has just proven that liberal democracy is possible, that we need virile opposition. And Nigerians have embraced this kind of democracy that gives room for a viral, active opposition. So every Nigerian that is desirous of real democracy, quality democracy, is also concerned in this kind of situations. Like I said, we don't have any reason to blame for what's going on. But after we have played our part and they don't reciprocate, then we may begin to have a different conversation and begin to wonder what is going on. And we'll come back here and have this conversation again. But at this time, as yesterday, I have information that we have played our part. So we're watching the coming days. We hope that INEC will do what they need to do. I don't think there is anything to it. I don't think INEC is conspiring or trying to create problem. No, I don't think so.
All right. Let's also look at the Labour Party, the obedient movement, rather. There are talks that there seems to be some form of marginalization, even within the ADC. And they're a bit confused. We did have some of them join us here on the program. They're a bit confused if Peter Obi, who was present during the gathering of the ADC members, especially from different political parties. The obedient movement is worried that they're being marginalized and they do not understand what's really going on in the ADC. What's your take on that?
I saw the letter. I don't know if that's the same source of your information. The letter written by some individuals within the obedient movement, quote and unquote, written to Excellency Peter Obi. Was the letter that was written to their principal. Basically, I think they wrote the letter because they didn't have information. I'm sure that Mr. Peter Obi will have given them the right information, the correct information, because he was involved in the process of nominating the critical members of the leadership of the ADC today. I can mention to you that the National Organizing Secretary of the party, and if you understand party politics, that is the very heart of the operation of the party, the National Organizing Secretary, was nominated by His Excellency Peter Obi. So if there is going to be any marginalization, I think nobody is going to have that kind of position to allow him the opportunity to nominate someone to that position. So that's why I said the obedient movement probably don't just have the correct information at the time that they were writing the letter. And I hope that Mr. Peter Obi will have brought them up to speed at this time. So there is no marginalization going on. 3 days ago, I was with Mr. Peter Obi, His Excellency Peter Obi himself, and he hasn't said anything different from what he has always said from the start, that he is fully committed to the coalition.
Now, Honorable Bolaji Abdullahi, as we inch towards the 2027 elections, and we've also seen the gathering of political juggernauts in that meeting with heavyweights Nasir El-Rufai. We've also seen the former vice president officially resign from the PDP to join the fold of the ADC, and Mr. Peter Obi was also at that gathering as we prepare for 2027 elections. As the ADC made a decision on which zone it will be zoning its presidential candidacy to, knowing that there's a gentlemanly agreement that typically the South does 8 years and then it goes back to the North. And seeing that Alhaji Atiku Abubakar has been the first of these political gladiators to resign and officially fully commit to joining the ADC fold.
The ADC is not having that conversation at this time. For us, our commitment, as you know, we're a young party. Yes, ADC had existed for quite a while, but it is the first time they are really becoming a real opposition party, so to say, playing in the big league. So there's so much work to do, try to build that party building the party into a real political party that's able to challenge for power. There's so much work to do within such a short time. But the most important thing for us is that we have clarity about the situations that have led us to where we are today as a country. We are convinced that the problem that Nigeria faces is political problems, largely political. All the problems that we face are consequences of the kind of politics that we have played. And we believe that if we are going to start to solve those problems, we have to embrace a different kind of politics. So that clarity exists at the highest level of our party. So there's a lot of conversation going on about, we've been talking about what the ruling party is doing badly and how they brought the country to its knees. Nigerians will want to know what ADC is going to do differently. We need to start to do that now, and that's more important to us than having conversation about who will take power. You see, if I may say this quickly, the conversation about who becomes presidential candidate, where they come from, is a recent development in Nigerian politics, and I don't think it's a positive development. Those of us who are around the Second Republic, or even as recent as at the early 90s, the military experiment, knew that the question of who becomes the candidate of the party, which part of the country they came from, was not an issue of conversation for public. It's left for the political party to decide who they want to fly. They want to win election. If they want to win election, they have to feel the right kind of candidate. If they don't feel the right kind of candidate, then they lose election. What's most important to Nigerians, or what's most important, to people who will be voting, is what does this party stand for, what does this party represent? And it's because of lack of this that has led us to the situation where we are in now. If APC, the ruling party, had been that kind of party that they should be, or that they promised to be, that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu would not have walked to the Eagle Square on 29th of May and said subsidy is gone, because whatever he will be saying will be derived from what his party has promised and what his party believes in. If the party had sat down to take a position on some of these principles of governance and have clarity of ideology on them, then it will not be left to an individual president to say that kind of thing. So we realize that these were mistakes that have led us to this point that we are in. And EDC is not going to go the same way. Otherwise, then we are not going to be different from the ruling party.
All right. Thank you so much, Honorable Abdullahi. I'm sure that we would indeed circle back to ask a few more questions as we look forward to see a political space that is indeed open for all. And then another big question, which would be, who is Nafiu Bala? But that will be for next time. Thank you so much for joining us. We're out of time. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
All right. We'll go for a quick break. When we come back, we'll have another interesting conversation here on Breakfast Central. Stay with us. Welcome back. Thanks for staying with us on Breakfast Central. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu signed the Nigerian Insurance Industry Reform Bill 2025 into law on Tuesday, a sweeping overhaul aimed at revitalizing Nigeria's insurance sector and advancing the nation's economic ambitions. The new legislation, now known as the Nigerian Insurance Industry Reform Act, NIRA 2025, repeals several outdated laws and introduces a modern, unified legal framework to regulate the insurance and reinsurance industries. It's a pivotal move aligned with the administration's broader push toward building a $1 trillion economy, one anchored in financial stability, investor confidence, and inclusive growth. Now, let's tell you this, that the Naira 2025 introduces also stricter capital requirements for operators. At the same time, it enforces compulsory insurance, digitizes the market, and also mandates faster claims settlement. So notably, within 24 hours after the bill was signed into law on Tuesday, the share prices of most insurance companies surged by 10%, a development analysts had already predicted in anticipation of the new act. Well, joining us to unpack the Nigerian Insurance Industry 2025 Act, its implications on businesses, also how it affects you, is the CEO of ATP Insurance Brokers Limited, Abidemi Oluseyi Babajide. Thank you so much for joining us this morning here on Breakfast Central.
You're welcome.
Well, this can you shed more light on why this seems to be very, very good news, especially for our viewers and those watching, to really understand what Naira 2025 will indeed do, not just for the insurance sector, but also for the Nigerian economy?
Yeah, thank you very much. The Naira 2025 is a game changer, to that way. There are a lot of things to benefit from this newly assented act. Naira is expected to benefit key economic sectors, especially in line with the Nigeria goal of becoming a 1 trillion economy. Before now, the public have no interest, they have no trust in the insurance sector. Let me put it that way. Now that we have Naira, Naira is here now to reduce the government burden. You know, if you look at it in the past, government spend a lot when it comes to compensating individuals, public, in terms of loss occurring from maybe natural disaster and the likes. Now that there's going to be an increase, capital injection in and within the industry, it gives a kind of relief to the federal government as a whole. Now they can now structure some of the fund they have into other areas, other sectors that need such fund, not to bother the federal government about that. And not only that, it will bring about job creation and industry growth. Now that the operators, we have enough fund, they have enough capital to do business, there's going to be a lot of expansion, business will grow, and a lot of things will happen in terms of engaging people, bringing people, as well as they are expanding. Then investors too will have confidence in transacting business with them. Not only that, there's going to be a serious infrastructure development. If you look at it, in the area of infrastructure, in terms of rails, roads, and all of that, in the time past, before now, some of these projects, when they're coming up, the insurance industry as a whole, Nigerian insurance industry, do not have such capacity to retain some of this risk. So now, when we have this Naira and everything comes in shape, definitely this Naira will reshape the insurance industry entirely. And when they are insuring, they have the capacity, they have everything on ground. They don't need to look for international cover or international backup. And not only that, when you look at the agricultural sector, it's going to really, really turn around the insurance industry, and it will help Nigeria as a whole. Look at the rural areas where they have no cover for insurance, when they have nothing. Now, the industry as a whole can have the financial muscle. They can strategize. They can move further. They can be everywhere. with the use of digital platform, they can reach out to even the small scale who are far beyond, initially, before now, most companies focus on the centers, the likes of Abuja, Lagos, Port Harcourt. But now, that's with the new NERA, it's going to help a lot. It's going to help the agricultural sector. A lot of people will benefit from it. We will begin to see confidence in those areas. Because now, when it comes to agricultural sector, they face a lot of risk, such as flood, pests, and what have you. Now, when you have the confidence and you can access insurance, even via the digital platform, they don't need to come there. They don't need to come to see you. You have your business is safe, and you can grow, and you can do a lot of things. So when you look at it, it's when we begin to unfold what insurance can do in terms of financial capacity. You agree with me that insurance is not just there to make sure that, or to say, okay, they want to collect people's money, but they are there to support the economy. And not only that, now let me come to the area of energy sector, oil and gas, renewables. Before now, the industry has been experiencing what I would call a capital flight. Capital flight in the sense that these sectors, let me put oil and gas and aviation together. These major sectors are, when it comes to insurance, when they insure aircraft and the likes, the pipelines, the oil rig, the insurance, Nigeria insurance market as a whole cannot retain that risk. So we have been experiencing what is called capital flight. How? What do I mean? When organizations come to insure their aircraft, their oil well, and the rigs, most of this, the premiums paid are not retained here. Nigerian insurance market can only retain a fraction of this premium. So the rest is ceded to the outside, to the global market. But now, when we have this muscle, when we have this financial strength, when we have this capacity, it encourages the market to retain the money, the premiums in this economy.
I don't know if you can hear me.
And
I know I don't know if you can hear me.
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, great. I was trying to get your attention since. I just want us to look at this. What you've highlighted so far is the benefit NERA 2025 will definitely have on different sectors. But we want to know what were really the changes that makes it very different from the previous one, so that we can understand what the Reform Act really has gotten in terms of its changes.
Okay. Now, like you've said earlier, now that the NICOM is mandated to implement all of these changes, we'll begin to see what we have not been seeing before, is loss of confidence. Investors do not have confidence in the market. When you look at it previously, what we operate with in this market as a non-life company is operating with just 3 billion naira. But now they have to increase their efficiency. They have to increase their financial capability to 15 billion. So look at it now. The market is going to be big. The market is going to be great because investors can see that, okay, you people are ready for business and they can inject money. But not only that, when you look at it, this applies to other arms of the other areas of insurance, like the life. They are increasing their own capital base from 2 billion to 10 billion, while the reinsurers are increasing theirs from 15 billion to 35 billion naira. Now, there's going to be zero tolerance for claim settlements. Then another new thing, in addition to that, there's going to be a policy holder protection fund, which we've not been having that before. What this means is this: the policy holder protection fund, when underwriters receive premiums, part of these premiums are kept like a fund, just like the way they do with NDIC and all of that. So in case of insolvency, which I believe we may not experience that with this new NERA, the policyholders are protected. They can still tap into the protection fund. You can see, and we have not been having this one before. Now, and again, the NICOM now has the mandate to promote compulsory insurances. There are some insurances that are compulsory, which up to now we have not been taking them seriously. Now the NICOM can come out because the law supports it. These compulsory insurances, such as group life assurance, building under construction, occupiers liability, motor third-party insurance, and healthcare professional indemnity. All of these, we'll begin to see the way, we'll begin to see how we move forward, because now NICOM is mandated to ensure that all of these insurances are in place, they are compulsory. So if you, as a person or our organization, is not doing what you're supposed to do, you can be penalized. You can be taken to court for not doing all of these things that you're supposed to do. And not only that, now that we are in the area of digital, the insurance market can make use of digital. They can have this fund to use to enable underserved region to have access through digitalization. So it's something, this, what we're experiencing now, what we'll begin to experience now, will turn around the whole insurance industry. And not only the insurance industry, it will help the populace, it will help the nation as well. We can now begin to see the benefit of insurance. A lot of people have lost interest in insurance before now. But even before now, we have been seeing responses, good positive feedbacks from people. Now they are beginning to trust insurance, but now they will trust insurance the more. Right. And not only that, we give a room for wider regional participation. What do I mean by that? You know, insurance has to do, we normally deal with, there's this jurisdiction, it must be within Nigeria. But now, when we have this, there is possibility of us transacting more within ECOWAS countries, within West Africa. So it means that we have a lot of things to do. So it will help us a lot. Now, NERA will encourage investors. NERA will boost consumer confidence, and it will reshape insurance operations.
Okay. All right, Mr. Babajide, thank you so much for your time. Thanks for touching base with us, especially looking at the fact that a lot of Nigerians and different sectors, especially from socio-economic realities, will definitely come true, as it were, with the new Reform Act. Thanks for your time, and thanks for sharing insights with us.
You're welcome.
Let's move on now to the Federal Capital Territory and tell you that the FCTA administration has assured residents of its resolve to continue clearance operations of illegal shanties, posing a security risk to citizens. This was as officials of the FCTA, led by the Department of Development Control, visited the Zone 3 area of the city centre, clearing illegal shanties and confiscating abandoned vehicles parked and being used by criminal elements. Our correspondent Idong Joseph tells us more in this report.
Defying the rains, the FCTA bulldozers rolled into these allegedly notorious shanty settlements at the Wuse Zone 3 area of Abuja, bringing down illegal structures. Officials of the FCTA say that the location was targeted as it posed a security risk to residents in the area and has existed as a location for crime.
We've been able to identify a location that somehow poses a lot of challenge to the city's security and then city's aesthetic quality. And we've been able to clear the menace and even to chase some of the people of the questionable character.
Other officials making part of the team say that dangerous items, including machetes, abandoned vehicles, were cleared from the location, describing the operation as a success in the interests of the public.
Machetes I'm holding here, these are the weapons most of these criminal elements who are hibernating in this particular axis normally used to attack unsuspecting passers-by and motoring public. Here leads from here they can go towards the National Mosque bridge, and they can also access the Zone 1 bridge. So most of those complaints you hear that motoring public or passerbys complain that they are being attacked. When they attack them, they not only collect their valuables, they also go ahead to machete them with this.
We have about 20 vehicles impounded. Not only impounded, they were towed from this place. Those vehicles are some of the things used for all these miscreants. They use them. Some of them are not even movable. They use them to urbanize, to use them to commit their atrocities. Some of them are being used for one chance. So most of them are being towed, not even driven. So we have about 20 vehicles with us.
They have been residing illegally. So there is nothing we can do about them but to chase them out of the place. Moreover, this place has been designated for another use.
The FCTA says that it will continue its operations in a bid to ensure that the capital is safe, secure and crime-free. In Abuja for News Central, I am Idong Joseph.
As you can see there, well, the action is needed and it must be taken for the safety of residents who do reside and live in the Federal Capital Territory. And talking about insecurity, it's one aspect of life that needs to be looked into, which is safeguarding the livelihood and properties, not forgetting to the people of the state. That's what the government is supposed to do according to the laws enshrined in Nigeria's constitution, to make sure that you provide safety and security to each and every citizen. So anyone in the Federal Capital Territory who is not happy with the actions being taken in that report that you saw, well, that person needs to have a rethink, because that's exactly what is expected of the government, to protect lives and properties, especially of its citizens. But away from that, let's also tell you that stakeholders have called on governments at all levels to channel available resources towards addressing poverty at the grassroots. That's what they've said. Well, this was actually during a policy dialogue organized by Oxfam Nigeria on the widening inequality gap in the country. The stakeholders say that the absence of a functional social safety net continues to deepen the marginalization of the vulnerable groups, thus the urgent need for inclusive development.
Sadly, we don't have safety nets. Yes, we removed fuel subsidy, and we know that there was mass corruption in previous administration around subsidizing PMS. But today, people pay out of pocket for health care. Our government say that education is free. But when you go to school, there are hidden charges. And a lot of people from poor households and low-income households cannot afford to send their children to school. And that's why we have over 10 million out-of-school children. So these are challenges that have been compounded because there are no safety nets, no any social amenities provided by government. And it is really sad because when you look at FAC allocation, in June we had one of the highest FAC allocation to state and local governments. Why are our governors not ensuring that citizens are enjoying and benefiting from the dividends of democracy, from sharing our federation, sharing resources from our federation account? Why are we not implementing the Supreme Court judgment around local government autonomy?
Well, I'm sure you do understand what's really happening, especially looking at these safety nets. But let's go for a quick break. When we come back, we do have breakfast headlines at the top of the hour. Plus, we do have a special report. Our man is currently on the way, and he'll be joining us right from there. But you do well to stay back and find out. Plus, don't forget that you can join in on the front pages of the newspapers very briskly. And after which, we'll also have the entertainment wrap-up on a Friday. They'll be here shortly to equally join us during the final hour of broadcast here on Breakfast Central. But in the meantime, congratulations to all those who also partook of the edition of, especially looking at Inside Lagos Politics yesterday. It held, and you did have our host, Felicity Ezenwike, and not forget to Dapo Adeboye, as they held it down, talking to different political parties, and not forgetting to their candidates at the last local government elections. It was explosive. If you missed out, go on social media, go check out all the information that you need to know. But for us here, we did catch the glimpse, especially of every single political representative and candidates at the just concluded elections that held here in Lagos, talking about the LGA elections. And it wasn't one that you would allow to be swept under the carpet. INEC was allegedly fingered for carrying out a conspiracy, I beg your pardon, in that particular election. But we have every single information for you online, so make sure you go on YouTube, on X, and other socials to find the stories. Breakfast Headlines comes up next. Stay with us on Breakfast Central.
Breakfast Headlines begins with a shocking announcement. The West African Examinations Council has announced that it detected technical glitches with the 2025 Senior School Certificate Examination results. It recently released in which mass failure was recorded. The results, which were released on Monday, recorded mass failure of candidates, which has caused outrage among parents, students, and other stakeholders. Only 38.32% of candidates were reported to have passed with 5 credits, including English and Maths, a sharp drop in points of nearly 34% from last year. Let's now move away from education to some environmental conversations. The Nigeria Hydrological Services Agency is sounding the alarm over potential flooding in 198 local government areas across 30 states and the FCT. The warning covers a 15-day period from August 7th to August 21st. The agency categorized the expected flood levels as high, very high, and moderate, based on rainfall projections and the topography of each area. A total of 832 communities have been identified as being at risk of various degrees of flooding. The states facing the very highest flood risk include Adamawa, Bauchi, Bayelsa, Benue, Borno, Delta, Gombe, Kebbi, Kogi, Lagos, Niger, Ogun, Rivers, Yobe, and Zamfara. Other states like Anambra or Akwa Ibom, Cross River, FCT, Ebonyi, and Jigawa are also listed under high to moderate flood risk. And now to other stories. The federal government has dismissed 15 personnel of the Nigerian Correctional Service and demoted 59 others following disciplinary action by the Civil Defense, Correctional Fire, and Immigration Services Board. According to a statement from the Correctional Service spokesperson Umar Abubakar, the sanctions came after the board reviewed 231 disciplinary cases presented by its Disciplinary and General Purpose Committee. In addition to the dismissals and demotions, 42 officers received warning letters, 8 were compulsorily retired, and 1 officer was ordered to refund salaries after a rank reversal. 16 others were cleared of all allegations. And now speaking about human rights abuse and maybe what some would refer to as politics, the Nigerian Labour Congress and the Coalition of United Political Parties have strongly condemned the continued arrest and harassment of civil rights activist Omoyele Sowore, calling it a threat to democracy and a blatant abuse of power. In a statement, NLC President Joe Ajaero described Showore's repeated arrest as unconstitutional and a violation of fundamental rights. He warned that normalizing such repression could erode public trust and push Nigeria closer to authoritarianism. The Minister of Works, David Umahi, has dismissed claims making the rounds that a portion of the newly constructed section of the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway has already failed. Umahi, who says that he has been inundated with calls from concerned citizens, told newsmen that the crack observed is on the Sandfield section of the road where work has not been completed. He urged citizens to dismiss reports, putting them in a state of worry, saying that there is no cause for alarm.
Gotten over 500 concern about a crack they noticed at the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway Section 1. And people are sending, you know. And I was wondering whether they're sending it in good faith or they're sending it to mock me to say, look, this is the project you'll be very proud of. Look at what is happening. Let me tell you that nothing is happening. No. Nothing. Absolutely is not an issue at all. That section has not been completed. Section 1 is 47.47 kilometers by 6, lanes. And so you have the main carriageway, you have the shoulder. And so where you notice the crack is the sandfield section of the shoulder, not carriageway, with stone base, where we are not presently working on. Because to work on the shoulder, we have to bury the, cable ducts. We also have to put the underground drainage.
Let's now move from the west to the eastern part of the continent, where a small plane carrying medical staff crashed in a densely populated neighborhood in Kenya's capital on Thursday afternoon, killing 6 people. The Cessna plane, run by Amref flying doctors, came down as it was flying to Hargeisa, the capital of Somalia's breakaway territory of Somaliland, the charity said in a statement. Kiambu County Commissioner Henry Wafula said the 4 people on board and 2 people on the ground were killed. A really sad way to wrap up breakfast headlines, but that's all that we have this morning. We'll now reconnect with Breakfast Central as we continue in a moment. Thanks for watching.
Welcome back, Breakfast Central. Let's take a look at the front pages of the newspapers. That's what we're going to today. We do not have any in-house analysts, rather. You are the analyst as well.
Am I a joke to you?
Well, when we say in-house analysts, no, we don't have one. That's because we'll be joined shortly by, let's just inform the audience. I mean, I know you're a very fantastic analyst. Don't get me wrong. Come on.
Better. I won't get you wrong.
But we're joined by Benga, who was here earlier on. There's a report we need to take, and Benga will be joining us shortly. But in the meantime, let's tell you that the front pages of the newspapers are indeed filled up with so much. Let's start off with the Punch.
Of course, we always begin to punch with the Punch.
The Punch there has the big header, a sad story again. But before I take that one, let's take this one. Glitched grades, WAEC in crisis over results errors. We did talk about that extensively.
Candidates urged to recheck new results in 48 hours. Students protests, parents slam CBT plans. I saw a tweet by Alex Onya, who is a co-founder, the founder of, I forgot the name of his organization. But remember that Alex Onya was very outspoken in the time when the JAMB CBT issues occurred. And he was at the forefront of ensuring that he spoke against JAMB and was going to actually bring up a class action suit against JAMB until the whole matter was resolved. I saw a tweet, and in the tweet he says that WAEC owes parents an apology. For not just parents, but also the students, an apology for the emotional distress. Imagine going to write an exam and getting poor grades, knowing that you did your best and expecting that best be reflected in the numbers. But then the results they show you terribly poor, and then they're telling you that there was a technical glitch. One day, Joe, you know how it felt when we're in school, when they tell you that result is coming out tomorrow. The night before
I was just trying to
be able to sleep.
You know what I was trying to do while you were talking? I was trying to see if I can get back into that emotion.
Nah.
But because
the moment they announced that the results I don't know how they did it in your school, but they'll say, oh, they pasted results on the notice board. Your walk from your hostel to the notice board is full of high blood pressure. Your heart is pounding. You're going there. By the time you're checking, looking for your matric number to find out. You don't even talk about when you meet people who has already checked, and the way some are crying, some are like, oh God, Jesus. And then if you don't do well, you don't have to disguise so that they will not know that you not do well. Like, oh, but deep down, you're smiling. How was your result? Fine.
But you know,
fine.
Deep down,
but in your heart, you know that you did terribly. So it's really traumatic. We don't want to keep putting Nigerian students through that. 1, 2, we also don't want continuous issues with the credibility of the results. Because what this will do is it will cast aspersions on the credibility of these results, not just internationally, like our guest inferred, but also locally, such that every year when results come out, people will start to then challenge. We'll see more people challenging results because they would say, oh, they have a reputation for having technical glitches, so I can argue that this is not the correct reflection of my results. They must put their house in order.
Yeah. Let's also highlight the fact that we're so used to the rush mentality. We did see a similar incident that happened when Nigerians were told to get their national identity number. That's NIN. They also told the BVN issue. And we remember that it was even in the middle of the pandemic where people were rushing out, trooping out to get it. There was also the situation, the incidents that had to do with the fact that your SIM card will be blocked if you didn't have either of these or you were not registered. And that saw Nigerians troop out in terms of numbers, even inside the pandemic. And we know what happened. Some fainted, there was a stampede at some places, in some places, and we're starting to see a repeat of this. Now we have the same issue. I agree with you. I think WAEC should be able to come out and put out an apology, clearly apologizing. Because it's West African, there's also the situation of, oh, this happened. We remember the incidents where students were indeed writing their exams at night.
Yes.
In short, some
using
parents...
torchlights.
Yeah, using torchlights. And in fact, some parents, sadly, also lost their children in the midst of all of this brouhaha or problem or educational, challenges that we did see or we saw and we're also seeing right now. That of JAM is one that started off and didn't look too good because at that point, if you recall as well, during the JAM examinations, you recall that some students had to stay outside of their homes because they had to meet out at odd hours, even though the registrar, Professor Ishak Oloyede, had come out to put out a video where he was apologizing. Call it all what you want, but that is a man who knew and knows that, see, they've done wrong to parents and students, and therefore even teachers, so they had to go out and apologize. But in this case, are we going to get an apology from WAEC?
Well,
maybe
they kind of
maybe
apologized
no.
in their press release.
But
because I'm looking at it here, they say, we extend our deep and sincere apologies to all affected candidates and the general public. We appreciate their patience and understanding as we work diligently to resolve this matter with transparency and urgency within the next 24 hours. On this note, candidates were, well, so they kind of apologize.
Let's take our first online analyst who joins us via phone call. Thanks for calling us.
Good morning.
You're our analyst today on the Friday, so go ahead.
Oh, it's like, is it our analyst that I called Osas that's,
Go ahead.
Osas, we don't seem to have been connected to Osas, but feel free to call if you're watching and react to any of the stories that we've talked about or the ones that we haven't yet talked about but are on the front pages. The numbers to call are on your TV screen. We'll also be taking a few comments from YouTube's live comment section as well. Still looking at the front page, Kenya plane crash kills 6 after Ghana tragedy. Feels like this year has been one filled with lots of crashes from planes, to helicopters. Lots of plane crashes have occurred this year. We had a bit of a break, and now it feels like we're back again. We talked about Ghana, and now we're talking about Kenya, and it's really sad. 6 people have lost their lives as a result of this. Ibadan market shuts as late Olubadan is buried. The issues and the controversies with the passing of Olubadan have, formed a major part of the conversation in the newspapers. Rivers elders ask Tinubu to halt local government polls and reinstate Fubara. Remember that the local government poll is scheduled to hold on 30th of August. But now they're saying, hold on, we'll come back to that. We're not ready now. Reinstate our governor. Let's reconnect with Osas, who's just called back. Osas, thank you very much for calling. Please go ahead with your comment.
Good morning, Olive. Good morning, Johansson. And my greetings.
Osas, can you please speak up?
Yeah, disappeared. Can you hear me? Good morning, Olive. Good morning to you.
Unfortunately,
we can't hear you clearly.
Okay, yes, we can hear you. Good morning. Please go ahead.
Go ahead.
Okay, I want to comment on the wake-up conversation. Can you hear me? Johansson, you're shaking your head. I hope you can hear me.
Yes, we can.
We can.
Okay, the wake-up conversation concerning the value jet and Quam 1. We are not really looking at it in a detailed form. don't you think we should consider those that were inside the flight? And let it be known to some of us or every one of us that most people who travel to Lagos, they are actually joining a connecting flight. So I'm surprised that the Minister of Aviation, Honorable Minister Festus Keyamo, say that the pilot should have waited, turned the plane. Why those people who pays for their delayed flight, or if they miss their flight or the appointment that they are going to, do you actually know what happened inside the flight? I have experienced it that when a flight delayed, you see everybody inside the flight murmuring. Some people will be shouting, do you know I have an appointment to keep up? So we are not looking at that angle. We are saying Kwam1 should put a hold, whether they are 10 or 15 inside the flight, should put their appointment on hold, that the pilot should have waited. No, it is wrong. I'm advising every Nigerian, when anybody is trying to illegally stop your legal means, that person should be crushed. I'm appealing to the NCAA, the suspension placed on Captain Olurankin's license. They should lift it. Her license should be given back, to be lifted, because she did the right thing. Nobody knew what Kwamwa would have done after that. The life of those people inside the flight were at risk. So the pilot flew those people into safety in Lagos. So she should be commended for, flying those people out of, like they put it, a terrorist zone, because Kwam1 had turned that place. He was trying to put them under hostage. So for flying those passengers into safety, the captain, Olirati, should be commended, not punished for that.
Thank you for your comment. But however, don't you look at it as maybe if you're appealing for the ban on the pilot to be lifted, you can cite maybe provocation, that the pilot was reacting to what was done, not saying that the pilot, was prioritizing the people in the plane. While it's important that the people in the plane don't miss their flight, potentially running over people on the ground wouldn't have been a way out of it. There's the law enforcement agents who should have been on ground to effect an arrest to ensure that the flight is cleared. But if the conditions are not perfect for a plane to take off, the plane should not be able to take off. They will get clearance. They should get clearance. Do we still have us connected? Oh, unfortunately. I understand. I think that we have to put some measure of sentiment aside and look at it for what it is. We can say the pilot was provoked. I mean, I'm such a girl's girl, so I typically would always advocate for, situations where I feel like, oh, this is my girl. But we have to state the facts as it is. If there's a potential of you running over someone, as a pilot, I mean, you can't drive or you can't fly the plane with that level of, anger or reaction to that action. I think there's so many, it's a ripple effect. You did say this at the start of the show, that it's a ripple effect. Kwamon shouldn't have acted in that way. If they asked you to put aside your flask, you should have obeyed. And if he didn't obey, then he should have been removed, or he should have then allowed the law take its course. You're removed, okay, but then you can institute an action much later and not try to disrupt the flight for other persons. And I'm glad that Osas brought that perspective up, because truly, the number of people who will miss connecting flight, then you can go to court. They can award damages in their favor against Kwamon, so that it would ensure that those people who missed their flights or missed connecting, missed certain opportunities will then be, compensated. But that's that for that. NCAA moved to prosecute Kwamon after no-fly order. That's still on the front page of the Punch. And 2027 ADC caught in crossfire as Atiku Obi rivalry escalates. Let's now move to the Vanguard newspaper.
Nigeria may break
but
up.
Before we take the
analyst.
we have Michael calling from Abuja. Good morning, Michael. Please go ahead.
Good morning. Good morning. I just want to contribute to the Kwam1 issue at the airport.
Please go ahead.
I think the minister has done very well. Kudos to him. But I think an in-depth investigation should be done on how Kwam1 got to the foot of the aircraft or inside the aircraft with that flask. People should be made to pay for that. Security and safety is very key at the airport. meaning a terrorist or whoever in the form of a VIP could go with an acid even or anything into the aircraft. So I think the minister should look at it. Fine, he has done well. Then the police should be up in their game. By now, I think Kwam should be arraigned in court today or tomorrow or whatever, as soon as possible, so that this impunity of these big men in this country will stop.
Thank you, Michael. And I quite agree with Michael in the area that there should be thorough investigation carried out. And that truly, how did that flask get into the plane? This same flask that caused an issue in the plane passed through security checkpoints. I had older relatives who were coming to Lagos, and they were not aware that there are certain things you shouldn't carry. So they bought, you know where you're coming from, the village. You buy oil, buy honey, and they had these bottles of oil and honey in their luggage. When they were passing I think there was a way that they were able to, the first checkpoint. I think they passed the first checkpoint, and the attendant, they had asked, oh, what's that? I said, it's just honey that I'm taking, I bought for, to carry, that I will use when I get to Lagos. And she said, because this woman is an old woman, oh yeah, no problem, just go. And she passed. But guess what? They came to Lagos and their luggage did not get to Lagos.
Correct.
When they called, because I had to go to the airport to say, what happened? Where's your luggage? They said, we don't know. And then when I dug further, when the luggage was passing through the machine and they saw it, they refused to allow the luggage board. So we had to give permission for them to open the bags in the state where they were coming from, to take those things out. They took pictures for us, removed the things that were not allowed to fly, closed the bag back. We then called another relative to go to the airport and pick up the honey and the oil. So the question is, how did that flask? These people that if I carry a bottle of water, I'm dehydrated, they will tell me, no, you can't cross here with your water.
It's called VIP treatment.
Self-recognizance.
It's called VIP treatment, which is the bane of societal issues. And let me also highlight, I am Benga, while we're talking about it yesterday, I did mention something, and I said, if it really and truly was water in the flask,
just turn it away.
Doesn't the airline give you water when you're inside? When you board the flight, don't they give you water?
Absolutely.
They give you water.
Yeah, and even if they don't give you, you can ask.
When it's exactly,
I'm
you say, oh, can I have,
dehydrated.
and they ask you, you say, oh, can I have room temperature? They give you
In
water.
all of this, I would say proper investigation is to be carried out, but everybody has the responsibility, everybody has a role to play, or some measure of blame, from the people who allowed Kwam get into the plane with the flask, to Kwam who carried the flask, and not just carried the flask, from video evidence, tried to disrupt the plane, and to the pilots and captain who were willing to move, regardless of the fact that they could potentially imagine this thing in a split second could have turned out differently. Imagine that they ran over Kwam.
You're a lawyer as well. That's the part I don't want to think of.
Because what if he called their bluff and refused to move, and the plane sliced him? It could have been a completely different story now.
The first caller of SARS also highlighted a point. I mean, you're a lawyer, and when you're in court, I'm not a lawyer, but obviously I listened to SARS's point, and I would love to also hold that as a key for conversation. He did say something. He said, what if the pilot was also afraid of what Kwam could have done there and then?
How?
Because, hold on, I'm coming. That's one.
Okay.
Two, other people were also held hostage. Everyone inside the airplane were also held hostage by one person who stood there.
So that is why you are a pilot. Part of the skills you learn as a pilot is not just to fly the plane, not just to weather the plane through difficult conversation, but also through difficult weather conditions, but also to be able to withstand pressure. Because this is not the first time. I'm sure that's not the first time the pilot has had, anger. People rancor from inside the plane. People arguing. Flying now is the same thing that happens in bus. Driver, go move. Everybody will react. It's normal. But your ability to separate your emotion from what the standard safety protocol is what differentiates you from. I can fly a plane on television with a game, but I'm not a trained pilot. Part of your training is also emotional regulation. So the pilot does have a role to play, or some measure of accountability to take in this issue. Let's now get back to the Vanguard newspaper. Still on the front page, heavy floods to hit 198 local governments in 31 states. Federal government warns. ValueJet airline drama. Federal government slams 6 months no-fly ban on Kwam. That, I would imagine, covers national and international flights as well. So he's going to be We are here in Lagos.
And that's
if you
pending
want to
while
move,
the investigation continues.
Exactly. If he wants to go to Abuja, he's going to go by road. If he wants to go, or he will go by train. If he's going to London, he'll first of all go by road and find his way to Libya. And then from Libya, he will go through the desert. I mean, it's just not funny.
It's not worth it.
Anyway, still on the front page, I was removed as governor for refusing to make UBA my deputy. How did I call that UBA? He's giving, what's that? Democratic Republic of Congo. This year, that's how they used to.
Democratic Republic of Congo.
Yeah, there's someone, I'm trying to remember how they used to mispronounce it. It reminded me of, because I called UBA.
DRC.
DRC, yes. Anyway.
It happens. Anyway.
Still on the front page, WAEC apologizes over technical glitches in WASC 2025 results. When I go collect apology, I no go collect.
That's what they are telling you. But the damage has been done. And you know the thing here, it's an irreversible damage to an extent. When we say irreversible, we did mention it earlier on. The parents that have celebrated their children, bought them books, clothes, cakes, took them out on to eat, told their neighbors, told their friends, the students who quickly posted their results onto the JAM platform, and now they're going to ask JAM to please allow them to edit. You know, there's back and forth, which also will add more problems to JAM in itself, because JAM itself, when the students finish editing their results, JAM will now have to do a fact check to ensure that some miscreants will not use the opportunity to say, oh, my results were not true. Therefore, since they've now allowed us to upload or re-upload our results onto the JAM portal, we can quickly change our results too, so that JAM will confuse JAM. What we're seeing here, like I said, is the collateral damage. It has been done, and it was not thought through carefully before they even embarked on this CBT, platform or process. We like CBT, we like to work with the trends. But before you do that, like people always say, read the room. Ensure that everything from your end is ready and set to go before you go on in implementing. There's something always called, you have to test. I mean, for science, people always tell you, oh, carry out a litmus test. Test it first.
There's a feasibility study, impact assessment that needs to be carried out. And that's how you put the horse before the cart.
And one thing you should have done is start with the mock examinations in schools. Tell the schools, okay, this school in the north, I mean, I'm just giving my idea. If you are in Lagos, would like XYZ government schools, 5 of you to come to our center, have your mock exams. From the mock examination, you start to see the level of accessibility. You start to take a look at the damage, the issues, even troubleshoot. And then you'll be able to say, okay, this is where the problems are. These are where the problems are, rather. And this is what we need to do to fix them. But then again, we're out of
No, but I need to just quickly take one story before we wrap up, please. Still on the front page of the Vanguard newspaper, because I think that this one, it will touch all of us. Top corner of the paper. Telecoms blackout looms as base station operators and diesel suppliers battle. Hey!
This is Nigeria.
They say that this dispute, according to the Vanguard, was gathered that it arose from an allegation by IHS that 2 member companies of Nogosa misappropriated its diesel stock and called for thorough investigations. However, Nogosa, in its swift response, said IHS was deflecting attention to repeated breach of contract and refusing to pay for accurate stock its members had supplied the tower managers. In all of this, all the telecom operators, they've cried out through their umbrella body, that is ALTON, Association of Telecom Operators of Nigeria, that over 16,000 of their base stations in Lagos, Kaduna, and Delta states may shut down soon, as Nupeng and Nogosa have blocked diesel access to IHS. The telco said the action could put millions of telecom and banking customers out of service. I need to start doing all my withdrawals today and my, just in case, because I don't want to have a very dry weekend. But this is not looking good. We're hoping that this is resolved, and we're highlighting this so that the necessary bodies that need to wade in do the needful to ensure, because when telecoms is affected, it crumbles us, not just on an economic scale.
Telecom is like oil.
Yes, it crumbles us. Businesses, people being able to work from home, you know, people will then be forced to go to the office. It will cut across board. Internet services will be affected. Anyway, that's what we have this morning on the front pages of the newspapers. Thank you to our guests, our online analysts who have joined and called in to share their thoughts on the stories. We're going to break. When we come back, there's more this morning on Breakfast Central. Please stay with us.
It's Friday, and we've got Sam Dandy in the house joining us for Entertainment Roundup. Was good, Sam Dandy.
I'm excited.
Sam Dandy, how are you?
I'm fine. Wearing
Guess
olive
what?
today.
I was going to say that. You're wearing olive today.
Joey's like, oh no, what's happening?
Yes, that color is called olive.
I'm spotted in blue and a touch of red. It's fine.
It's Spider-Man colors.
Yeah, it's good.
Or Captain America's
Or
colors.
Superman. A lot of blue and red, honestly.
Thank you. I'm just super like that.
Here
to save the world.
What's new, Sam?
What's happening?
Well, let's start with this one. Davido is in the news. The Nigerian superstar couple, Davido and Chioma, have arrived in Miami ahead of their highly anticipated white wedding ceremony, reportedly set for this weekend. Now, fans caught glimpses of the couple boarding a private jet complete with floral decor. Now, I don't want to talk anymore. Let's see what that looks like, how beautiful this was to set up, and we're expecting something to happen this weekend. Let's watch this.
Bomber! Bomber! Good girl! More, give them. More, close door. More, close door. Miami! We on the way! Yes, sir.
Honest, fans are excited about this one, but let's walk down memory lane. Assurance singer dropped, of course, proposed in 2019. He faced a well-publicized relationship hiccup in 2021, tragically lost their first child, defining in 2022, and they legally got married in March 2023, welcomed twins in October that year, and held their traditional wedding in June 2024, #Chivido, was one of the country's biggest wedding celebrations, making heavy buzz. Now, fans are anticipating what we're expected to be another big celebration. Word on the street is even the dancing senator has already hit Miami.
That's what it is. It is. You need
This weekend is about to shut down.
I didn't get an invite. I don't know.
Well,
I was almost getting an invite, but they stopped my plane.
Wow. Your own plane?
Yeah, they stopped the plane I was in. The plane was trying to taxi, so someone stopped.
You know, I'm about to move into stopping
well,
planes.
the truth is, I would have been there. I should have been there, you know, because I mean, Davido is my guy. You know,
Really?
So,
Wow.
but the problem was, this weekend I had a family emergency. You know, that's why I wasn't at work yesterday, and I need to be able to pay attention to family. So, but I'm going to send them
for everything. Don't worry, you celebrate with them when they
I will
come
celebrate
back.
with them when they come back. We're going to have like a friendly dinner, just
Please
the
invite
three of
me.
us. No, we don't really like outsiders like that.
It's closed door. We call it closed door meeting.
Obio.
Well, a lot of people are excited about this one, even though, you know, there was some controversy over the past few weeks. But hey, we want to see this wedding and we want to see all those going to be
I'm
there.
here for the fashion
Absolutely.
and the content of the gram. So
That's right.
congratulations to them. They can marry 54 times for
If
all
they
I
want.
care, because we've seen it happen with Priscilla and Juma Jukes. I like the standard celebrities are giving us.
Absolutely.
So please give us the entertainment. We're here for the tea. And
Let's
your
move
love
from
lasts.
exciting stuff now to controversial stuff.
Yeah.
The Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority has officially blacklisted Fuji music icon Wasiu Ayinde, of course called K1 The Ultimate, following allegations of breaching airport security protocols. Now, the NCAA confirmed that investigations are still ongoing, but the 68-year-old artist allegedly bought a gold flask suspected to contain alcohol and refused security staff's request to inspect it. Now, Nigerians online have now reacted, especially since a viral video surfaced on the internet of K1 allegedly speaking to our country's president. Let's watch this.
Ọlọ́ba sísá lọ́hùn ni o, ẹ ṣe o. Wọ́n á máa ṣe mítìn wọn náà.
Ẹ̀fẹ́ àgọ́.
Àmísà.
Wà pẹ́pẹ́pẹ́pẹ́pẹ́.
Àmì àkànbí ìwọ náà pẹ́ fún mi. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you, sir.
Ọlọ́run ní bí ajẹ́ o.
About the timing for this. Now, people say this is an old video, but what a time that he can call the president and...
It's actually old video. It did come out. It recirculated again 2 days ago when the incident happened.
That's right.
And many, you know, social media now, netizens will always find something to juxtapose with something else to make
That's
sure
right.
that they stand out. But it's an old video, so let's take note of that. However, they were saying that the reason why they even put out the video was because they felt that his actions were as a result of the fact that he's closer to the #1 citizen, which is the president.
Right.
Hence why he had that aura, that power to do all of that.
Yeah.
That's what they said. That's what they said, but I don't know about all
I
the
mean, I don't know how that video connects to what has happened. I don't think that if the president is asked, the president will say, oh, well done. Someone has done a great job. He's acted poorly.
Right.
He's a public figure. And as a public figure, there's a certain level of expectation that is attributed to how you carry yourself in public. And I hope that this, an investigation is carried out into this matter, and that everybody everybody that deserves to collect.
I like the sound of that.
We have to connect with Benga right now. So if you can hold, you wrap up with us. But we have Benga Borowa. He'll be joining us to bring an update shortly.
Absolutely. Benga is ready. Benga is live at Magodo GRA Phase 2. There's a quick report he needs to share with us. It's got to do with a degradation of an environmental threat. I'll talk about the degradation of the environment and threats to safety, and also threat to existing properties and infrastructure. Benga, I mean, you look a bit different leaving the studio. It's like you took some time out to take a walk. And what did you see? Share with us very quickly.
Thank you very much, Joe. I'm here in GRA Magodo Phase 2 in Shangisha, and the residents complaining about developments that is happening around a gorge, in the gorge, and this would lead to serious environmental impacts for the residents if something is not done. They've made their complaints known to the authorities, but it seems that has fell on deaf ears. I have the president of the association of this area, of this zone, with me, Mr. Dotu Ifebogun. He will speak to us about what is happening, the latest developments, and why they are crying for the authorities to stop this development. Please, can you join me, Mr. Ifebogun? Can you tell us what your grouse is with the current development that is going on in the gorge area, and why the Residents Association vehemently opposes?
Okay, good morning. Thank you very much. I think we need to start from the history. For the past 20 years thereabout, this place has remained a gorge, undeveloped. Then in the old and the new master plan of the state, this place was never allocated. Okay? Now, some years back, someone tried to build there, this building you are seeing there. And that was stopped because of the same reason of non-allocation, no plan for development in this gorge. This gorge is supposed to serve as a drain flow and just to make the environment stable. That's why you have this cliff that we're standing on there, holding the main road. But all of a sudden, someone sold a dummy to the state government to say that it could have access to a landlocked location. If you look around, you see that this place is landlocked. The houses have been built, existing for the past 20 or more years. So someone sold a dummy to say that he can have access to this, and claiming that he will pull down his own property. This same property that he pulled down is being redeveloped, if you can look at that angle. So the question is, how did you have access to this place? That's one. The second thing is that you want to create structures there. We don't have any plan. We don't have any form of confirmation that there's an approval. And we had to reach out to the government to say, we object to this. We wrote to them, physical planning, and many of the other agencies within the state to say that this should not stand. But they ignored us. The only thing we see was some people came with armed police, with boss of the physical planning right here, and started demolishing, causing nuisance to the entire environment.
And when did this happen?
This happened middle of July, right? We wrote letter since April. They responded that they will not accede to our request. Now they came to develop, right? I mean, to demolish this. And we knew that demolition is not just the only action. There was something under their sleeves. And we are worried that all our earned money will go to waste. For your information, this entire road stretch was tarred by residents of the zone. This flora and fauna that you see here was put together to hold this entire space. So why would somebody just come without any approval to prevent erosion? Somebody will just come to say demolish and start to rebuild. Where's the approval?
Now, you've said you've made your complaints known to the authorities, and the authorities seem to be in cahoots with the developers, since they came with armed operatives and some sort of police protection. Where are we at the moment with regards to taking this conversation forward? The developers refuse to show the planning, the plans and the authority to go ahead with it. And you've made complaints to the Ministry of Physical Environment and Urban Planning, and you're not getting any response. What's the latest, and what action is your association taking next to see redress?
Okay, thank you very much. After the invasion of the entire environment, we had to petition the state governor and also copy these same ministries. It was after then that some 2-3 days ago, they came to inspect. We had to actually go into the public, to the media, to say, come and save our soul. It was after then, 3 days thereabout ago, that they came and put a stop order. So our question is, was there an approval in the first place? Why are you now putting a stop order? Okay? Now, in putting this stop order, they have also not said anything about maintaining the status quo. This cliff was standing there fully fitted. It has been excavated. Okay? With these rains that happened in the last couple of days, you can imagine what will happen when this entire mass of sand is now flowing on the properties that are existing on its own. Okay, so we are very worried. We are worried that government, in the wisdom, are not seeing this from our angle. We are very worried that the environment is being degraded, and we are very worried that people's means of livelihood are under threat. And look at the road. I mean, even without this, you can see the path of flow of water and the impact that it's having on the road. We have to do this by ourselves. This is self-help, and now they are causing this more to it.
And the Residents Association has decided that this gorge is a no construction zone. It's always been part of the master plan for this zone. And if they go ahead to construct, if your complaints fall on deaf ears, what would be the environmental impact for the residents of your zone?
Okay, the interesting thing is that we've done an environmental impact assessment of this entire space. And the environmental impact assessment went as far as reviewing the development plan of the entire location. And the answer was that it's a no development point. This is supposed not to be developed at all. So there must have been a reason why the governments of Fashola, the governments of the governor after him, and even one of our residents, used to be a deputy governor, was against this entire plan. So we are wondering how this new so-called approval came about that will now put us in this danger and also expose everybody to such environmental degradation.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ifebogun. We do really appreciate. And guys in the studio, we have our reporters on ground. We'll speak to all the parties involved, the authorities, and make sure we get to the end of this. Because just standing here and witnessing this, I can tell you that there's a real clear and present danger in constructing. I'm not an engineer, but I can tell you from what I see that, you know, the gorge is quite big, and construction, there's no retaining wall on this side, and construction really shouldn't be going on here. But I mean, in true New Central style, we have our pulse on the situation, and we'll bring you updates on the entire process, and also give you updates on any developbenga.
Bringing that update, thank you so much, Benga. That indeed is a crisis waiting to happen, and here we'll continue to follow up with that story. Benga, I'll see you on Monday. We've missed you for the rest of the show in the studio, but this is how we wrap up today's show. Thank you to everyone who's joined us virtually, physically. We'll be back again on Monday, but Breakfast Extra continues tomorrow. I am Olive MOD.
And I'm Joe Hansen. I want to say thank you, Sam Dandy. Though we had an abridged entertainment conversation, but they can join you at 4:30.
That's right. 4:30, East Central.
East Central. Make sure you catch everything. Until then.